Hello. Welcome to our first virtual PLC for the 2022-2023 school year. I'm your virtual PLC lead for 6 through 12 band, Dr. Zondrabel McRoy. And let's just jump right in. I'm super excited. So, getting off to a great start is what we're going to start our webinar series with this school year. And we're going to start with the beginning band edition. So, this could be beginning band for middle school, for elementary, if you teach that, or for high school. So I'm going to just focus in on a traditional beginning band class. If you teach a high school program, it may be a little different, but um, and same for elementary, but I'm going to focus on just the typical beginning band um, a type of setup. All right, so let's just start with the biggie, instrument selection. So getting started is has a lot to do with instrument selection and getting kids on the right things. Now, going to go ahead and throw this out there. Please be flexible with this process. Still, we are still in the throes of a pandemic. And so some students and parents are still uncomfortable with our traditional process of mouthpiece testing. Please be flexible and allow them that grace and that flexibility. We still have COVID-19 going around and monkeypox. Some families are concerned about monkeypox. So keep in mind that things aren't all the way back to normal yet, and we still have some work to do. And we want to make sure that we are making our students and our families feel as comfortable as possible with the work that we're doing for their children. So if you come up against some resistance from a parent, allow that parent to voice their concerns, hear them out, and have a flexible plan B. Have a plan B in place for those students that, for families that don't feel comfortable with the traditional process of instrument testing on mouthpieces. So, if you are finding that you have an administration that is a little bit more resistant to a traditional approach to instrument testing, have a plan in place. Be ready, and and I know we're a little bit late to the game with this, but I just thought I'd throw this out there because you just never know where everyone is in their process. Consider just using the big four. So you're only worried about testing on flute, clarinet, trumpet, and trombone. And so even if you are testing on clarinet, you may be able to have multiple clarinet mouthpieces. You don't have to worry about having your clarinet and your saxophone and your bassoon and your oboe reeds and all of that. You can just limit it to those to the big four to start the school year, and you will just have flute, clarinet, trumpet, and trombone, and possibly percussion if you because that's always a really safe one if you so choose, right? Now, once some time has passed, you've built those relationships with the students and the parents, and you've built that trust. It may be a good time to switch to start to move students to some of the color instruments, right? So you have more of a trust built with the families. You built that relationship. They believe in you, and they know that you're going to do what's best for their students. And so that might be a good time to start moving them over to your color instruments. And if they haven't found success on those big four, if you feel that, okay, we can't do instrument testing with about 40% of our students, we'll just place them according to physical makeup and interest. We'll place them. And if they haven't found success in those instruments, giving them that opportunity mid-year to kind of switch and find something that may fit them better. Because by that point, you know them better and you know their work ethic, and you have seen their struggles on the instrument that they selected, not necessarily tested on, but selected. So just having that, I guess the overarching idea is be flexible, be ready to be flexible. We have our way of doing things. And for years, when I taught middle school, that is what we did. We did instrument testing to make sure that the students were on the right instrument for them so they could find maximum success. And, we have our whole spiel down. We know how to tell parents, how to explain this to parents and the research that is behind that. And so when we have to be flexible, sometimes it's hard to think outside of the box a little bit, but we're still in that position where we have to do that. And so just be prepared. That may be something that has to happen. So once you've gotten everybody assigned to their instruments, um, just a few things to think about. If you are someone that is not able to have a traditional jump start day, right, where everyone comes on a Saturday or a Friday afternoon, and they work with pedagogues on their instrument. So flute go with a flute teacher, clarinet go to clarinet teacher, tuba go with the tuba teacher. If you're not able to host one of those, having a virtual jumpstart would be great. Get together with groups of people you might have gone to college with, you play in a community band with, they work in your county. You all get together and create videos to prepare students for like your virtual jumpstart. And so that's one way to do it if you're not able to have students come in for a traditional jumpstart. Or you can also use those videos to prepare students for the real thing. And so getting them started with how to put the instrument together, how to clean it, how to take care of it. Um, Simple videos like that. There are videos out there on YouTube, and with most method books, there's a whole set of videos that you can use to help get you started, help to get your students started. For those of us that may be teaching in a rural area or in an area where there are no after school activities or anything like that allowed, which is a thing. And so that might be a great way to get your kids started, jump start them virtually with videos and opportunities to watch others. Now, a traditional jump start, if you're having that, maximize that day. It's not just about putting the instrument together and reading the first few notes. It's really about crafting the attitude that you want for your students. So I know one of the big things is I like my students when I taught middle school, I like them to know the history of the instrument that they're playing and how it developed and what it's for, what the color is, what role it plays in a band, in an orchestra, as a solo instrument. I want them to know all of those things. And that is a part of the Jumpstart Day as well. I'd rather them know about the instrument, understand how to take care of it, how to clean it, how to store it, how to hold it, how to produce a quality tone on it, rather than just being able to play a few lines out of the book. I can do that part, but I really want them to get that trumpet attitude. I want them to get that percussion focus. I want them to get that flute air about themselves. So when I teach Jumpstart Days, that is a part of what I do with flute players. I let them know this is where the flute came from, and these are all of the steps that it went through. And it used to be made of this, and now it's made of this, and it used to have no keys, and now it has keys. And we talk about, we even go into the fact that it's the transverse flute, meaning to the side. So they can handle that. They need to know that information, and it makes them proud to be a flute player or a trumpet player or a percussionist or a tubist. It makes them proud of that. And then finally, modeling. So I think there's a misconception that sometimes band directors should be able to play everything. I can't play everything to the point where I want them to model my tone on everything, especially clarinet. For some reason, it's just not my jam. But I know how to find videos of people that are awesome and do have a characteristic tone that I do want them to model. And for one, the U.S. Army Field Band has a whole playlist of videos just with their players modeling the instruments, talking about the instrument, getting them familiar with the characteristic tone of the instrument. I would use those videos before we even did instrument selections, just get them accustomed to what everything sounded like and which one kind of fit them, what interested, what was of interest to them. So yeah, the Army Field Band and all those videos are free on YouTube, and you just subscribe to their channel. You'll get a whole bunch of stuff. It's really great. So is the Marine Band. They also have great videos of, of course, marches, but other things as well. Small ensembles, and they have opportunities for you to tune in live for different performances. So check out those channels on YouTube. It's really great. All the military bands pretty much have those. Really awesome. So, the day to day journey with beginners, we always think about the big stuff, getting them on the instruments, getting the instruments, all of those instrument nights and renting instruments and all of that. But the day to day journey, when there's no one there but you and your kids, what do you do from the very, very beginning? And so I'm just going to talk you through my process and the process that I've used in the past and that has worked for me. And I have stolen and modified this stuff from other, more experienced teachers. As I began my career, I was in high school and then I transitioned to middle school and was a very young middle school director. So I needed to get as much information from more experienced directors as possible. So that's what I did. So um, the first thing is focus on individual skills. That whole idea of no child left behind is real when it comes to beginning bands. You don't want to leave anybody. You don't want any beginning band roadkill, right? Where someone goes down and they never get up because you guys just keep just going over them. And if you don't want that, you want to make sure that every kid stays with you as much as possible. There are always going to be outliers. There are always going to be special circumstances and situations, but do your best to hold on to every kid and build their individual skills. If they are able to build those individual skills and they feel that they are finding success there, you'll keep them. That's all they need. They just need to feel successful. They don't have to be the best, but they just need to feel successful. So the three-step process is key. Now, I cannot say that I came up with this. I did not. I believe I got this from Matt Fuller, who I believe got it from Kenny Beard. Both incredible, legendary band directors in the state of Georgia that had incredible bands and have been great mentors to a lot of directors throughout the years and continue to be. So the three-step process is really important, and we'll get to that later. I'll talk you through that exact process in a bit, but that three-step process is going to be key to developing those individual skills and helping you keep your sanity. Focus on music theory. Teach them how to read from the beginning. Now, there is nothing wrong with rote teaching. So I play, you play, match what I do, match my rhythms, match my tone, match my this, match my that. There's nothing wrong with that. But um, and that can happen in tandem. But they need to know how to read. Teach them the staff, both clefs from the very beginning because you never know where they're going to go. Some of them may start on flute and then end up on tuba, and you just never know. So they need to learn both clefs, and that can all happen at the same time as a lot of sound before sight, right? And so that's okay. That methodology is nothing wrong with that. Sound before sight, well, it's not a methodology, but that approach is nothing wrong with that. But they do need to learn to read as well. You don't want to limit their abilities. So teaching that from the very beginning, and that's a great way to fill the time when you are having to do, if you have to do instrument testing yourself. I've had to do that before, and we would have a theory lesson. They'd have time to do an activity. I'd test them. Then we have another theory lesson or a rhythm reading lesson, and they'd have a little packet and or a little pair share work to do, and I test some more. And so, if you have to test for yourself and you don't have anyone to help you with that, um, that's a great way to incorporate music theory time while you're testing. Give them a little assignment, you test them, next thing, test some more. So it helps to fill that time and cut down on behavior problems as well. Focus on rhythm reading and recognition from the beginning. So not only should they be matching the rhythms that you're teaching them by rote and seeing how well they can give those rhythms back to you, also teaching them how to count them from the very beginning and what rhythm reading entails. So there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And then focusing on singing and matching pitch. If you catch them while they are still comfortable with singing, because most of them did a lot of singing in elementary school music. And so if they're in sixth grade or if they're in elementary, you definitely can do all the singing in the world. But if they're in sixth grade, they're still accustomed to singing in music class. And so it won't be so foreign to them. Now, if you are teaching a high school beginning class, then that's a little more difficult. And I've been in that boat for the past few years. And it is, well, for the past like 9 years, it's hard to get them to sing if they haven't been accustomed to singing before they've gotten out of the habit or the practice of singing. But if you catch them early and start singing and matching pitch early, you will be amazed at how much better the tone is as they go through all of that. So those are the hot spots. That's the day to day journey. That's the day to day grind when it's just you and your kids having like a set, focus. Focus on the individual kid, focus on music theory, focus on rhythm reading, focus on singing and matching pitch is so important from day one. All right, so now let's break down this 3-step process. So when I taught middle school, I broke everything down into 3 steps. I broke down the embouchure into 3 steps, and I broke down the posture into 3 steps. That way, we could practice those basics as a group, and I could check every kid. So during my jumpstart days, I would instruct the teachers that came out to break things down, break the embouchure down into 3 steps and break the posture down into 3 steps. And they were responsible for the best 3-step process for their instrument, but they just had to show me what it was so that I knew how it worked. And so, for example, I have flutes. When I do flutes and I'm breaking things down into 3 steps, I'll have them, we'll just pretend this is the head joint. I'll have them do step 1 is to turn it so that the knuckle is facing them. Step 2 is to put the knuckle in the center of the mouth and wiggle it to make sure their lips are nice and relaxed, like that. And then step 3 is to turn the knuckle so it's facing straight up and it's right on the bottom lip or right under the bottom lip, depending on the thickness of the bottom lip. So I use that, and then when we do the head joint, we do the same 3-step process. I teach it on the finger first, and then I transfer it to the head joint, and then when we do the entire instrument, I transfer it to that. It's always a 3-step process, and I still use a 3-step process myself when I'm getting ready to play. I don't. Well, it's not really 3 steps. It's just to put the instrument up, tone hole in the center, and I play. And so it's really important for students to understand that the embouchure is not willy nilly. It's like if you have an icky embouchure, it's like not really caring about what type of microphone you use. So you want to make sure that you are, if you're a professional singer, you are going to be very meticulous with the microphone you choose to use for your recording sessions or for your performance. It's the same thing with your embouchure. You want to make sure that you set yourself up to get the best tone possible. And so if they break that down and they practice that, it becomes habit and they can't get away from it. Same thing with posture. Feet flat, back straight, shoulders down. That is the way I teach posture, even to my high schoolers. Feet flat, back straight, shoulders down. So they stay nice and relaxed when they play. And we would, when I taught middle school, we would turn on the metronome back in the day, and that metronome would, and everybody would feel their embouchure. And I would go from student to student to student to student and check every single embouchure. The beauty of technology now is that we have all these backing tracks that you can find on YouTube for free. Just a good free resource for that is McAllister Music. Great backing tracks for all of your warm ups, and they're free and they're awesome. But you have all these backing tracks. If you're that type of person that likes to build those things and do that type of work, go for it. Make backing tracks for your kids. And that backing track can be going, and you're walking around the room and you're checking kid to kid, and make sure they never, remind them, you never know when I'm coming back to you. So don't get lazy about building the embouchure. Build your little embouchure soldiers. They're ready to build great embouchures every day. And so if they are able to practice those basics as a group, it allows you to never leave anyone behind. Again, the theme, no beginning band roadkill. You don't want to leave anyone on the road. You guys are just stepping over them. Just going and they have been left behind. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on everyone, and breaking things down into that three-step process is a really great way to do that. Biggest tip with beginning band at the very beginning is just be patient. It's going to feel incredibly slow. It's going to feel incredibly slow. It's going to feel incredibly slow, but that's okay. Um, take your time and don't rush. You got nowhere to be. The kids don't know what the checkpoints are, right? They make their own checkpoints. You and your students make those checkpoints together. So take your time and be patient and make sure you build them up properly. You want them to be structurally sound. You don't want to build a house on a faulty foundation. So make sure that you take the time to build a strong foundation so that the house is nice and strong. Don't leave anyone behind. Just some things to remember. This is a graphic that I created um, in the throes of virtual learning and COVID, and the transition that we were making between being completely virtual and hybrid. And so um, that's why that whole safer activities thing is there. But remember, slow and steady wins the race. Um, Going fast doesn't help anyone. You end up just having to go back and fix things um, along the way. If you take your time and really go slowly and teach the students that there is value in repetition and value in um, working toward mastery early, they'll be just fine. Excuse me. So teaching them early to just take their time and just get it just right, master the concept, master the skill. That is invaluable, and it will bleed over to their band experience from beginning band all the way through mastery band. And it will also bleed over into their academic world, their sports, um, everything. They will learn how to be um, methodical, patient, and diligent. They'll learn how to do that, and that's the beauty of band. It can teach a whole bunch of things. All right, now filling the time with creative and safe activities. So, like I said, use if you're having to do instrument testing on your own by yourself in your classroom day to day, and you've got to get it done in like say 2 weeks. Fill that time with a theory lesson, and what could be really, helpful is um, pre-record your theory lesson, play it, and then have the students watch it, ask you questions, and then start on their activity. And then go back and review the activity. While they're working on that activity, that gives you like 10, 15 minutes, um, depending on the length of your class, or 5 to 10 minutes to test a couple of kids or 4 kids or 5 kids, depending on what they want to play. And so fill the time with creative and safe activities. Another great way to fill that time is to do listening journals. And you play the piece a couple of times. It's beginning band, so it's short. You play the piece a couple of times, and the kids are able to get tested and go back and hear the piece again and do their listening journal. Um, Ensure that no student is left behind. Make sure that everybody stays abreast of everything that is happening, and you keep them all together as best you can. Checking those individual skills and keeping a check on them will help. Hold on to as many students as possible. Excuse me, and that will come from just them finding success. If they find success early, you'll hold on to them. And if they have continued success and there is no, again, beginning band roadkill, nobody's left on the side of the road while the band is gone, you'll hold on to more kids. And finally, this is something that I've had to work on myself. Don't get fixated on perfection, focus on progress. So if you do the work to get better every day, If you're saying that to the kids, we just want to get better every day, believe it, live by it, and it'll keep them from getting frustrated because they didn't do it perfectly. It's okay to not do it perfectly, but if you do it better today than you did it yesterday, and even if you did you try hard? And then let's try again tomorrow. Even if we don't make it, even if we don't accomplish that mastery today, we'll get there. That's the important thing about beginning band. Embed that whole idea of mastering, working for mastery. It's really important and have them focus on progress because if they're waiting for perfection and they're in beginning band, they're going to be waiting for a minute. And so get them accustomed to progress is more important than perfection. All right. I hope you enjoyed this first segment. We'll be back with segments 2 and 3 in a few. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the Godot discussion board or visit any of our social media outlets at Georgia Department of Ed, Facebook, Twitter, Insta. You can also visit our YouTube channel. This is where this webinar is housed. And you can also visit the Godot website, the www.gadoe.org. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.